we'll be treating quadratic equation. Now, quadratic equation is a polynomial whose highest power is the square of variable. What do I mean by that? For example, if I have a variable, remember I told you that x can't be the only variable. You can use any other variable, but you can't use letter O because it looks like 0. Now, let's say you have your x and you have what? You have the square. Now, this x raised to power 2 shows us that this is a quadratic expression. The reason I didn't call it quadratic equation because I have not put my what? Equals to. If I put my equals to, then it is what? It has become a quadratic equation. But for now, it's still an expression. Now, this time you are going to what? Know that this is a quadratic what? Expression because of the highest power is what? Is 2. For example, now for linear equation, if you have, let's say x plus 1 equals to 2, you can see that the highest power of this x here is what? Is 1. That is why it is called the linear equation. But for quadratic equation, the highest power is 2. And if you are looking at this quadratic equation, it has a general formula in which it is what? Ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, in which your a is not equals to what? Equals to 0. Your a cannot be equals to 0. Now, this your a, your b, and your c, they are representing number. They are number. For example, this your a here is the coefficient of x squared. Your b here is the coefficient of x. While this c is what? Is the constant what number. It's just you relating it with something like this. 2x squared plus 4x plus 8 equals to 0. This your a here is for 2, while b is 4, while your c is equals to 8, and this is 0. So this is the general formula of the quadratic equation: ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, for us to be able to solve quadratic equation, we have a lot of methods that we can use to solve quadratic equation. For example, we have the factorization method. The next one is completing the square method. We have the quadratic formula. Let's start with the first method, which is the factorization method. Factorization comes from the word factor. You know, you're looking for the factors of number. Let's say, for example, now we have 18. What are the factors of 18? We have the 1 and 18. We have the 2 and 9. We also have the 3 and 6. You know, you multiply them together. 1 times 18 will give you 18. 2 times that will also give you 18. While 3 times 6 will also give you 18. So that is what the factors of 18. And that's what we'll be using through this what? Factorization method. Let's say, for example, now you have a question like this: x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals to what? Is 0. And I want you to know something. Since you are doing a question like this, in which it is a quadratic equation, in which the highest power is 2, just make sure that you will be giving two values of the variable. Remember I told you it cannot be only x that can be the variable. It can be y squared minus 5y plus 6. But just know how it goes, or how to solve it, or the steps in which you are going to use to solve it. Now, since you are having x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals to 0, and you are using the word factorization method, the first method you are going to use is, or the first step you are going to use is, you are multiplying this term and this term together. This is the first term, this is what? Last term. You are multiplying the first term and the last term together. That's x squared minus, x squared times 6. You understand? You are multiplying together. X squared times 6. If you add your x squared times 6, it will give you 6x squared. So you are having 6x squared. Very simple. Now, since you have gotten what? You have gotten 6x squared. The second step you are taking is that you are looking for the factor of 6. You are looking for the factor of 6 in which, if you multiply them together, you are going to get 6, and if you add up, if you sum them together, you are going to get minus 5, because this is the second term. If you multiply them together, you will get 6, and if you add them or sum them together, you are going to get minus 5. let's say you have your arrow like this. These are for the two factors. Now, what are the factors of 6? Let's drop that out. You have your 6. Factors of 6, you have 1 and 6, and you have your 2 and what? 2 and 3. 1 times 6 will give you 6. 2 times 3 will give you 6. Remember I told you we are looking for 2 factors of 6. This number here. You know you have already multiplied the first term and the last term. You have gotten 6x squared. Now you are looking for 2 factors of this number here, which is 6, in which you are going to multiply together and you are going to get 6, and you are going to sum them together. You are going to get minus 5. Now, if you look at this, you have 1 and 6, you also have 2 and 3. When we multiply them together, we are able to get 6, which is correct. But we don't know the one we are going to add them together to say that it's going to give us minus 5. Now, let's find that out. Now, this, we have 1 times 6, which give us 6. We also have 2 times 3, which also give us what? 6. Now, these 2 factors works. Let's look at the one in which we are going to sum up together that will give us minus 5. If we have the 1 plus 6 give us 7. Fine. You have minus 1 plus 6, it gives us 5. Very good. We have minus 1 minus 6, it gives us minus 7. Very good. We have 1 minus 6, which gives us minus 5. Now if you look at it, we have gotten minus 5 already. But let's move forward by using these 2 and 3 also. If we have 2 plus 3, it gives us what? 5. We are looking for minus 5. If we have minus 2 plus 3, it gives us 1. If we have minus 2 minus 3, it gives us minus 5. If you have 2 minus 3, it gives us minus 1. Now if we look at it, we have used 1 and 6 and we have also used what? 2 and 3. And we are looking for the one that will give us minus 5. Let's check for 1 and 6. Now if you look at it, we have one that gives us what? Minus 5 here. Which is 1 minus 6 gives us what? Minus 5. We also have another one that gives us minus 5, which is what? Minus 2 or minus 3. You can see that we now have what? We have 2 factors. We say that it gives us minus 5, which is 1 minus 6, which gives us minus 5. And you also have what? Minus 2 minus 3, which also gives us what? Minus 5. Now, what you're not going to do is that you are not going to multiply them together if it will give us exact 6. You know, we don't have minus 6 here. It is 6. Now, let's start. Here we have 1. 1 times into bracket minus 6, it will give us what? Minus 6. Fine. If we have minus 2 times into bracket minus 3, minus and minus is plus, then 2 times 3 is what? Is 6. You can see that. So the value we are going to use is what? Minus 2 and minus 3. Because minus 2 minus 3 will give us minus 5, while minus 2 times minus 3 will give us 6. So what you just have to do is just put your x. Minus 2x, then minus 3x, because we have what? We have x squared. So minus 2x minus 3x will give us minus 5x, while minus 2x times minus 3x will give us 6x squared. So just fix it here. That's minus 2x minus 3x. Very, very simple. Now, since you have gotten your factor, you now come back to your question. So you write your what? X squared minus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. Then continue by saying x squared. Now, instead of you to write minus 5x, you not write minus 5x again. You are imputing these your 2 factors. So it's not what? Minus 2x minus 3x. Because minus 2x minus 3x will give you what? Minus 5x. Then you have your plus 6 equals to 0. Then the next thing is you are going to put them into brackets. You have your open bracket, x squared minus 2x, then minus 3x plus 6 equals to 0. Very, very simple. Now if you have reached something like this, what you now to do is that we now to what factorize. You have into bracket x squared minus 2x. You also have another bracket 3x plus 6. Now you are going to look for the what? For the common factor between x squared and 2x. What you can see here and what you can also see here, it is what? It is x. Then you bring your x outside, x, then open your bracket. Now x in x squared. If you say x in x squared over x. X squared means what? X times x, then over x. X cancel x, you are left with what? 1x. Then put your x. Minus, now x in 2x. If x cancel this x, you remain what? 2. Then add your 2. Just like if you open your bracket, x times x will give you x squared, minus, then x times 2 will give you what? 2x. Very simple. Then add your what? Minus. What is the factor between what? 3x and what? And 6. What can you see and you can also see here? It is what? It is 3. Because 3 can go in 3x and 3 can also go in what? 6. Then you have your 3. You open your bracket. Now 3 in 3x. If 3 cancel 3x, you know what? X plus. How do we? Okay, sorry. Minus. How do we get minus? Because of this minus times plus here will give you what? Minus. Don't forget that. Minus times plus will give you what? Minus. Then 3 in 6 will give you what? 2. Then right equals to what? Equals to 0. Now for you to know that what you have solved is what? Very correct. You must make sure that the term or the expression in this bracket must be the same with the what? Expression in the second word bracket. If you look at it, x minus 2 and also have what? X minus 2. If it is not the same, you have to check your workings very well. Now, since we have what? The x into bracket x minus 2 minus 3 into bracket x minus 2 then equals to what? 0. Now, since this expression here and this expression here inside the bracket are same, so you first bring the what? The terms outside. Put them into bracket x minus 3, then choose one between these. Then you have what? X minus 2 then equals to what? 0. Now, it's telling that these two expressions here are equals to what? 0. So we now continue by saying that what? X minus 3 equals to 0 or x minus 2 equals to 0. This I bring this out from what? From the first bracket and this from the second bracket. X minus 3, x minus 2, they are equals to what? 0. So from here you can what? You can collect like times I say that what? X equals to 0 plus 3. If this come over to change to what? Plus, or x equals to what? 0 plus 2. If this minus go cross over to change to what? Plus. So x will now be equals to 0 plus 3 is what? 3, or x is equals to what? 0 plus 2 is what? 2. You can see very simple. Look at the second question. We want to use factorization method to solve this question. You have the 2 equals to 2x squared plus 3x. Now you can see that this question is not arranged. You must make sure that the equation is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals to what? 0. But here we are having 2 equals to what? 2x squared plus what? Plus 3x. So what we are doing is that we are rearranging. Now how do we rearrange? You can just say that since this is equals to this, then bring it back 2x squared plus 3x equals to what? Equals to 2. Then 2x squared plus 3x, this crossover minus 2 equals to 0. You can see it's now in this what? In this your general formula. Now we have the 2x squared plus 3x minus 2 equals to 0, and we want to use factorization method to solve this. What we are going to do, we are going to multiply the two terms together. That's the first term and the last term. Now 2x squared minus 2x minus 2 rather will give you minus 4x squared. So this is, you are looking for the what? For the factor of minus 4 in which you are going to multiply together, it will give you minus 4, and you are going to what? Add together, it will give you plus 3. How do we do that? What are the factor of 4? We have the 1 times 4 and we have the 2 times 2. this will give us 4, this will give us what? 4. Now, you have already known that if we multiply these two factors together, it will give us what? It will give us 4. Now, let's try to add it together. It will give us what? Plus 3. Now, we have what? 1 plus 4 will give us what? 5. We have minus 1 plus 4, it will give us 3. Minus 1 minus 4, it will give us minus 5. And you have, let's say 1 minus 4, it will give us minus 3. Now this was 1 and 4. Then let's try 2 and 2. If we have 2 plus 2, it will give us 4. You have minus 2 plus 2, that's 0. If you have 2 minus 2 is 0, then minus 2 will give us what? Minus 4. Now we look at it, this one is very, very straightforward. Both factors are not giving us 3x. Both factors are not giving, it's only one factor, which is what? Minus 1 and what? And plus 4. Now, let's try to what? Multiply them together, if it will give us minus 4. Now, if you have minus 1 times 4, right? Now, minus 1 times 4 will give us what? Minus 4. So tell us that the factors in which you are going to multiply together is what? Minus 1 and 4. Now, just put your x minus 1x, I can just see that what? Minus x. And what? You have your 4x. So, just write them here. You have your minus x and you have what? 4x. Come back with the question, that is 2x squared plus 3x minus 2 equals to what? Equals to 0. So anybody you see this what? 3x, you are writing the two factor, minus x and what? And plus 4x. So it's not what? 2x squared minus x plus 4x minus 2 equals to what? Equals to 0. Remember I told you, the reason I'm not putting my plus here, it is what? Invisible. You can make it visible and you can make it what? Invisible. Notice point. Now, you are going to put them inside the bracket. That is 2x squared minus x, then plus into bracket 4x minus 2 equals to what? Equals to 0. Now, what you are doing is that you are looking for the factor. What can you see and what can you also see here? It is what? X. Then x into bracket. Now, x into x squared. If you have your 2x squared, that is what? 2 times x over what? X. If x cancel x, you are left with 2 times x, which is what? 2x. That's 2x minus, now x divided by x will give you what? 1. Very correct. Plus, what can I see? I can also see it is what? It is 2. Now 2 into bracket. Now 2 in 4x will give you what? 2x minus, you can, this I get my minus, plus times minus will give you what? Minus. Not because of this minus here. Plus times minus will give you minus. Now 2 in 2 will give you what? 1 equals to 0. Now let's check if it is correct. You can see that we have what? 2x minus 1 here. We also have 2x minus 1 here. It means they are what? The question or what you are solving, it is what? Correct. Now, these are the first term. The outside term, put them into bracket, which is what? X plus 2. Then choose one amongst these brackets. That's 2x minus 1, and you have your equals to 0. Now these two expressions inside the bracket are what? Equals to 0. So you now write x plus 2 equals to 0, or 2x minus 1 equals to what? Equals to 0. Now, since you have the word x plus 2 equals to 0, or 2x minus 1 equals to 0, collect like times I say that what? X is equals to 0 minus 2, or 2x is equals to 0 plus. You have, that's x equals to 0 minus 2 will give you minus 2, or 2x equals to 0 plus 1 will give you 1. Now you have already gotten the what? The value of this x here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to divide both sides. That's over 2 over 2. These 2 cancel 2. So your x is what? 1 over 2. So therefore, we have x as what? Minus 2, or x equals to 1 over 2. Very simple. Number 3 question says x squared minus 5x equals to 0. You can see that these terms are not complete. It's in the form of ax squared plus bx equals to 0. Now, how will you be able to find the values of x? It is very, very simple. Now, since you have what? X squared minus 5x equals to 0. Now, what you are going to do is that you are going to what? Factorize. You can just say that what? Look for the factor of what? X squared and what? And 5x. It is what? X. That is x into bracket. X in x squared will give you x minus x in 5x will give you what? 5. Then equals to 0. Now, this expression is telling you that this x is equals to 0, while x minus 5 is also equals to 0. So now what? X equals to 0 or x minus 5 equals to 0. You have got the first value of x. Now, x equals to 0 or x equals to 0 plus 5. Then you have x equals to 0 or x equals to 5. Very, very simple. You don't have to stress yourself on that. And let me tell you something, this factorization method, it has limit of questions it can solve. There are some questions that you won't be able to use factorization method to solve. That is, if the answer will lead us to a decimal number, you can't use factorization method. That's why we also have other methods like completing the square method. You have the what? Graphical method, the quadratic what? Formula method. So you can't, there are some questions you can't use what? Factorization. For example, now question leading us to complex number, you can't use factorization method to solve it. Thank you.